Hello and welcome once again to The Plant. My name is Bryan, host of The Plant Podcast. The Plant is brought to you by ThinManager Software, the global leader in thin client management and mobility solutions. ThinManager is a Rockwell automation technology. In the last month, ThinManager has released an entirely new way to sell and license the ThinManager platform. The new license model is called vFlex, and it allows total flexibility in purchased quantities and license deployment configuration. Gone are the days of predefined packs of licenses, but after 20 years of our old licensing model, this change also means questions. Luckily, joining us on the plant is Ken Kurtz. As an inside sales representative for the ThinManager team, Ken is quickly becoming an expert in the ins and outs of ThinManager's new vFlex licensing model. Hello and welcome once again to The Plant. Backed by popular demand, Ken Kurtz is with us today. Ken's been on the show before. He spends his days on the ThinManager inside sales team helping existing customers and getting new customers on board. Today we're going to ask Ken all about the new and exciting vFlex licensing model. All right, let's start out with the basics. ThinManager's new vFlex licensing is a totally new way to sell and activate ThinManager. So tell us, what is vFlex licensing and why the change?
Hey, Bryan, thanks for inviting me in. Great first question. 110 years ago, in 1909, London businessman Harry Selfridge coined the term, "the customer is always right." Back in the 30s, here in America, the term "give people what they want and they'll come" was coined in show business circles. Author Bryant McGill coined the phrase, "one of the most sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what people have to say." Finally, famous American financier Bernard Baruch said, "Most of the successful people I've known are those that do more listening than talking." So with those four quotes dropped, I'm going to drop the mic now. Shut up and listen to you, Bryan.
Well, I love the quotes, obviously.
I should answer that first.
Yeah, I was going to say, what does that actually have to do with vFlex, and why are we changing to?
All right, so there you go. If I'd listened better, you know? So vFlex wound up on ThinManager's drawing board as a direct result of some of those quotes. Number one, the customer's always right. Number two, give people what they want. And number three, respect the people that you're doing business with enough to listen to them and then deliver on what they're actually asking for.
Okay.
So ThinManager's business model for 2 decades has been to deliver systems to customers exclusively via procurement of 5-packs, 10-packs, and 25-packs, each of which was capable of activation on a solitary server or synchronized pair of servers. That was a very successful model for ThinManager over those decades. But we've always had people wishing for the ability to invest in ThinManager seats in less strictly defined increments, namely single seats. So we bowed to some of that pressure with introduction of our Municipacks some years ago, sold in increments of 25. These were warmly welcomed by cash-strapped municipalities that oftentimes found themselves in need of multiple smaller ThinManager systems. With a Municipack, for example, a customer could split up their 25 seats. Say if it was a water system, they could peel off 10 seats for a primary sanitation facility, leaving them 15 seats to cover, say, 7 2-seat pump station systems strewn throughout their geography. And of course, if you're doing your math, you got 1 seat left over. That 1 seat could be an add to the 10-seat sanitary system, or as a 3rd seat add to one of their 7 pump station systems. So, you know, that was really something that was warmly welcomed. We then went on to offer our Flex Packs, which, by the way, let me go back and just say that very hypothetical on the Municipack would have required purchase of a 10-pack and 7 5-packs back in the old days. Obviously, the municipality that set up that system saved a lot of money with their redundant Municipack.
Right.
So the flexibility is one thing, but the money savings is another. From the Municipack, we then progressed to our Flex Pack offering. And that was, it basically took the Flex concept and expanded it out for customers that wanted similar flexibility across multiple systems in multiple company facilities throughout the globe. So purchase of a pool of 100 seats, for example, or 150 seats. A large food manufacturer purchased a flex pack of 150 seats, and they were able to activate those seats as they saw fit and whatever increments they needed and desired at a choice of facilities. And I'm looking at my system in the database right now. That food manufacturer, I'm looking at a 3-seat system, a 7-seat system. They've got a 16-seat system. All these various systems activated at different facilities across the United States. So that is basically, the start of it. So I would call VFlex, and again, getting back to the original question, I would call it a natural progression from MuniciPack and FlexPack. So now, today, with VFlex, 5 packs, 10 packs, 25 packs, be gone. They're gone. We listened and decided to create what the customer has wanted. Every single new ThinManager seat purchased today is a flex seat. And a customer can determine how many seats are needed at any given time. And so that's primarily the big difference.
Okay. And they can be used across wherever they need to.
Yeah. If a customer needs 7 seats in a system today, they can buy 7 VFlex seats. They do not need to buy 2 5-packs or a 10-pack anymore.
Okay. And if they need to add a seat, they just buy one more.
If they have an existing system, they can purchase a single seat to add to that system. And again, that was one of the bugaboos we had over the years. Customers saying, system integrators saying, oh gosh, I just need to add a single terminal there. I wish I could buy a single seat. Well, we have delivered with VFlex.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you to give us an example, but I think you kind of already did. And that's really what I'm hearing as well is that it's the ability to buy one, not necessarily have to have some for future expansion, but being able to add that future expansion very easily if you need to. And I know there's also built-in volume-based discounts as well, depending on how many you buy up front and where you plan to, disseminate them around your different facilities.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So really the VFlex seat replaces MuniciPacks and it replaces FlexPacks. Because a customer that buys 100 or 150, like aforementioned large food manufacturer, they're buying at a much steeper discount at that volume. The functionality is exactly the same. I mean, technically and hypothetically, somebody that buys 150 VFlex seats could set up 150 one-seat systems across the globe. And obviously that's an extreme example, but
right.
that's the type of flexibility that is afforded. Municipalities now, they don't need to buy a 25-pack anymore. They can, if they only need 3 seats or 8 seats or 14 seats, they can buy in exactly the volume they need.
That's great. That's great. And I know, with that VFlex, we've added redundancy at a lower cost of entry than we have before. That is a smaller amount to add on. So ThinManager's been offering Factory Talk license activation since version 10, right? And I know also in addition we have our old school or regular ThinManager license activation, what we call TMA, is obviously always been available. Is that true for VFlex? I guess is the question I'm asking. Are both those types of activation available, as well as like an example of maybe somebody who's looking to go VFlex and how it's different from how they would have done it before?
Yeah, well, to answer the first question, yes, VFlex seats are available. TMA, which is old school ThinManager activation, as well as FTA, Factory Talk activation. I think it's important, and just to give you an example, I had a distributor call in last night. They asked me on behalf of a customer, they needed to add 2 seats, and they'd heard about VFlex. They wanted to add 2 seats to a system. So I did a little background on the system, and I found out who the system was. I looked it up, and it was an existing 20 redundant seat system comprised of a 10-pack and 2 5-packs. Obviously, TMA, ThinManager activation. The distributor was asking for FTA licensing, which they could purchase. However, given that their existing system that they were adding to was TMA, I asked them to go back and ask the integrator if indeed they wanted to transfer the whole system over to FTA at this time. The word came back that no, they didn't. So in fact, they really wanted two redundant TMA seats. So I say that only because, especially with existing systems, it's always good to call into inside sales or write into inside sales at thinmanager.com. We have a lot of legacy information, especially for customers that are adding to existing systems, so that we can set you on the right course for what needs to be purchased. But yes, you can purchase FTA, you can purchase TMA, but it's wise to consider what your customer has in place already.
Right. So it's always helpful to, to call into inside sales or go online and find out how to contact us so that you can make sure you've got all your stuff in a row before you go and buy something that doesn't match.
Yeah. And like you said, since version 10, FTA has been available, and there are plenty of customers that have purchased FTA. However, there are many, many legacy customers, given the option of FTA, have decided to stick with their TMA activations. As they add seats in, we even have customers that, even on new systems, they are familiar with TMA and they want to activate their new systems TMA. And again, we can offer conversion to FTA on all existing TMA licensing. So that's always available at no charge. But it's always wise to figure out what a customer has and really how they want to move forward. And then we can quote VFlex seats, again, in whatever increment is desired, properly to each individual customer.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So based on what you just said, it sounds like if without checking and without like being in contact with us and knowing what your customer already has, if two, FTA activation licenses have been purchased, how would that work with an existing TMA install?
Okay, yeah, so that's a great question. Again, that's why we like to vet these as best we can. Had the distributor incorrectly ordered FTA in this case, there would be two options. All of the existing 20 seats in their system would need to be converted to FTA. The two FTA seats cannot be added to the TMA activation. So they have the option to, convert the existing 20 seats to FTA. The other option is to take the two seats of FTA and cancel that order and reorder at TMA.
Okay.
It can be, and that's one of the reasons why I like to stress trying to vet these out, because the process of conversion back and forth can be onerous. And for a customer that's looking to add two seats quickly, you want to make sure you're ordering the right seats for the system they have in place.
Well, and that leads me kind of into my last question is, resources and given that the VFlex licensing is kind of a complete overhaul from how we've done it in the past, obviously contacting our inside sales, talking to you about what customer they're looking for and getting that information. What other resources, how can the listeners, the distributors, our even our system integrators and end users, how can they learn more about the VFlex licensing?
To that, I would say, and I hate to say this, but because of the newness of all this, I would say the best thing to do is to write into inside sales at thinmanager.com or to call in to inside sales at thinmanager.com. The situation is very fluid in terms of the resources. We have people looking at proposal works. We have the new e-commerce portal. As new as the VFlex purchasing process is, there are things that are up and things that aren't up. So when I say fluid, I mean it's day to day. So at this point in time, I would say absolutely try to get as much information about your customer and what their system is and what they're trying to accomplish. Call into us, and then on a day-to-day basis, we'll be able to let you know where we are in terms of ordering, through SAP for Rockwell distributors, ordering through SAP or through the e-commerce portal for third-party distributors, through our normal process of orders at thinmanager.com.
I gotcha. And I know that, for people who are trying to learn more, I guess, understand more how VFlex works and the levels of support and things like that available, there are some resources online. I know you can go to thinmanager.com/VFlex to learn general information, get a data sheet, things like that. Ken, thank you so much. This has been really good, and I know this is a very new way for ThinManager to be sold and to be activated, and I know we're getting questions, so it's good to kind of just shed some general light, at the very least, encourage people to talk to us and understand a little bit more about what we're doing here.
Indeed, and I'll close with a conversation I had with a system integrator just yesterday. He had heard a little bit about VFlex. He called into me. This is an integrator that's been working with ThinManager for literally the 2 decades of our existence. And when I clarified to him that, yes, indeed, you can add 1 or 2 seats to an existing system, he said to me, brilliant. This is what I've been asking you guys for years. And so there you have it. I mean, it's, part of the reason for this is simplicity. We have severely diminished the number of part numbers. You can buy a redundant VFlex seat or a non-redundant VFlex seat now, and multiple, just the quantity that you need. So once we get through the bumps and of this early processing, it's going to be simpler for everybody across the board.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's different, but it'll be easier.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today on The Plant. I'd like to thank Ken Kurtz for joining us today to talk about VFlex. For more information on VFlex, check out thinmanager.com/VFlex. To learn more about ThinManager, visit thinmanager.com. My name is Bryan Harned, and we'll talk to you next time on The Plant.